Hey, friend. Today's episode is incredibly special to me, and I'm going to try not to cry because this marks a moment that once felt so far away. Recently, I retired my husband. Let that sink in for a second. This isn't about showing off, it's about freedom. It's about what can happen when women stop putting themselves on the back burner. We stop saying, once the kids are older, or I just need one more client, or even worse, maybe I should just give up on this dream. If you're listening and thinking, that sounds amazing, but I don't know if I could ever do that, well, this episode is definitely for you. Hey there, bookkeepers. Welcome to the Rescue My Bookkeeping Business podcast, your go-to resource for building a thriving and successful bookkeeping business. I'm Stephanie, your host and bookkeeper business bestie, here to guide you every step of the way. Each week, we'll dive into actionable tips, industry insights, real-world advice, and inspiring stories designed to help you work smarter, grow faster, and achieve the freedom and success you've been working toward. Plus, we'll have incredible guest interviews to help you take your bookkeeping business to the next level. Let's turn your big vision into your reality. It all starts here. Let me take you back to the very beginning, to the spark of this dream. It wasn't part of a business plan. It wasn't something I wrote down in a goal-setting workshop. It was a quiet moment. My husband walking in after another long day, exhausted, the stress wearing on his face. And I had this thought, what if I could take care of the family? What if my business could be the thing that sets us free? It felt totally impossible at the time. But once a dream like that lands in your heart, you can't unsee it. And here's the thing, dreams often don't make sense when they first show up. They show up before you're ready to stretch you. Honestly, at that point when the dream arrived, there were so many reasons it did not make sense. We were juggling bills, responsibility, kids, work, being caretakers, just life. And my business, it wasn't even close to being able to replace his income. The voice in my head was loud. Be realistic, Stephanie. This is super selfish. You should just be grateful for what you have. But here's what I want you to hear. You can be grateful for what you have and still desire more freedom. You can love your life and still dream of more. That doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you ambitious. The turning point came when I stopped asking if and started asking how. And I stopped isolating myself. I joined a coaching container where I met women who were unapologetically chasing big dreams. And you know what happened? They started saying things to me like, well, why wouldn't your business retire your husband? Why shouldn't you be the breadwinner, the investor, the one who builds wealth? I had never heard women speak like that. It was a whole new language. But that's the power of community. Sometimes we don't even know what's possible until someone else shows it to us. One coach in particular said to me, if God put it on your heart, there's a reason for it. Well, that hit hard. Now, I'm going to be clear with you. Retiring my husband didn't happen because I manifested it on a vision board. Although, yes, I do love a good vision board. It happened because I got intentional and strategic. And here's what that actually looked like for me. First, I cleaned up my bookkeeping business operations. Then I stopped saying yes to work that didn't align. I kept my boundaries and I owned my value. I raised my prices and I didn't apologize for it this time. Pricing wasn't just about money now, it was about the boundaries, the confidence, and the leadership. Also, I documented everything that was happening in the business. We're talking systems. We made templates. We outlined client workflows because, guys, you can't scale chaos. Then I started showing up differently, less like a freelancer and more like a CEO. And the more I did that, the more confident I got and the more momentum I created. Now, we all know that I'm an emotional gal. So I'm going to tell you about the emotional side of all of this for a second. Because yes, there was a lot of strategy, but there was also a lot of tears. There were nights when I was awake asking myself, what if this doesn't work? What if I'm sacrificing too much? But here's the thing, every time I felt that way, I would reach out to my coach. And without fail, she would remind me of who I was. Sometimes it was just a sentence like, you've come too far to play small now. If you've ever felt like you're carrying the weight of everyone's future on your back, I see you. And I want to say this, you are allowed to want more ease. You are allowed to create a life that feels good and lighter. And you don't have to do it alone. So you may be wondering, what was it like? Well, what was the day like when my husband officially stepped away from his job? Here's what happened. He called from work one afternoon, and I could tell by the first word that it had been another bad day. Another day of corporate politics and backstabbing. But what he didn't know was this day would be different than the other days he called. This would be the day that I told him it's time to put in your 2 weeks. The phone got really quiet, and then I heard him say, "Are you sure?" What he didn't know is that I had been running the numbers for the past few years since we had sat one evening by the pool dreaming of him one day being home with the family. We were able to make the leap of faith we had been praying about for the past 5 or so years. So then 2 weeks later, he didn't have to get up super early to go to work. The day was weirdly quiet. No big celebration, no champagne bottle pop, just the two of us sitting on the front porch rocking chair, sipping morning coffee. And him saying, "So, I guess I don't have to go back." And I just nodded. "You're done." It was surreal, emotional, and so peaceful because it wasn't about the moment. It was about the years of work behind it. It was the payoff of prayer, resilience, and asking for help when I needed it. So, what's life like now that he's home? Well, there's way more laughter, more slow mornings, more time together as a family, more room for him to explore what lights him up too. And here's something I didn't expect. It's made me even more passionate about helping other women just like you do the same. Because this isn't just my story, this is possible for you too. Maybe your version isn't retiring your husband, it might be paying off debt, taking a month off in the summer with your kids, or hitting your first 10K month. But the principle is the same. You get to design this business around your life, not the other way around. Now, if you're still listening and there's a part of you saying, "That's great for you, but I'm way behind," let me gently call that out. You're not behind. You're just at the part of the story where you're becoming the woman who makes this dream happen. Every coach I've ever worked with helped me to step into the version of myself who could handle the dream before it ever became real. And that's what I want to offer to you: community, mentorship, a seat at the table. Whether it's inside the Bookkeeper's Bestie Club or Level Up, or just through a simple DM conversation, I'm here because I don't just want you to listen to the story. I want you to live your story. So here's what I want you to do. First, pause and ask yourself, what is your version of this dream? Then ask yourself, who's helping me get there? Because I promise you this, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide you're done doing it alone. If this episode spoke to you, reach out with a message. Tell me your dream. Let's talk about where you are and what support could change everything. And if you're ready to take the first big step, join BBC or apply for Level Up coaching. Let's build a business that gives you life back. You're not just dreaming, you're starting to believe it's possible. Thanks so much for listening, my friend. Until next time, keep thriving.